Hey, what's up, guys? It's been a long time. um, I just wanted to give you guys, I guess, a quick life update. It's been about 7 years. Uh, I've been through a lot in these past 7 years. I guess in this video, I'll be discussing what I've learned in these past 7 years from then until now, and I'm gonna try to be as transparent as possible without veering off topic too much. Um, let's see. When I first started posting videos like this, and not just gaming videos or whatever the case, whatever. Um, Back then I kind of thought, not that I knew everything, but back then I don't really know what I was going for back then, to be honest. And then, life kind of just happened, and I wouldn't really call it lazy, but I was going through a lot of changes, to where it wasn't really like just me in my room alone with my thoughts. And I realized I was giving advice, and that was just how I felt at the time about whatever I was talking about. But also, in the last 7 years, I've also learned that there is a few things that I could tell people that I wasn't even really thinking about back then. To be completely honest, myself, that would be to take care of your health, because without health, without health you can't really do anything, because bad health will contribute to wouldn't even bad health contributes to just smaller obstacles, which in turn would make it difficult to deal with this thing that we call life. So yeah, take care of your health, everyone. Trust me, time flies, and you can kind of learn, or you could kind of get lost in the world spinning and just carrying on with life, and you don't really pay attention to certain things until struggles or difficulties come up, and then you're kind of forced to pay attention to it. I would say that was kind of a realization for me during those 7 years. I would say about 2 years after I stopped making those videos. So when I was about 24, I guess just had a quote unquote like awakening within myself. Like, I needed to pay more attention to my health. I started becoming more subconsciously and consciously aware of it, because the first kind of health obstacle I had was I ended up with sleep apnea, and then becoming a pre-diabetic. But don't worry, I have all that under control. I'm doing all the necessary precautions, taking all the necessary precautions with it now. So don't worry, I'm not like about to, not about to like go out or anything like that. So don't be too alarmed whenever you see this video for whoever's watching. It was just, like I said, it was just an update. So I would say, so the first point was health. What else have I learned? I made it out of my mom's house. I would say 2 years after I kind of had that, I hate saying this word, quote unquote, awakening about my health and taking care of myself and all those type of things. So I was about 26, and ever since then I was still posting videos, but they were like, what I was doing at the time or what I enjoyed doing, which was gaming. So it was like still kind of me talking, but just also me kind of playing the game. But I kind of felt like giving an update would be better received if I made it in, this type of form, how I used to back then. And the reason why health is kind of a big point here for me is because back then I didn't have half of those issues. I don't like calling them issues. Half of those obstacles, or any of those obstacles, to deal with back then. So that's why I'm, consistently saying throughout this video, like, take care of yourself, take care of your health, and take the steps to, take care of it, even if it requires assistance from like medicine and stuff like that. Because I know that sometimes there's this notion, especially for us as males, that we don't need doctors and we shouldn't look into our possible, health obstacles that we may have, because it's not really a big deal. But you don't want to catch it or realize it when it's too late, and I've always kind of been aware and wanted to always be on top of the things that I can control. But going back to my point earlier, which was, back then I kind of really thought I wouldn't say I had it figured out, but I thought I knew what I was talking about, I guess, if that makes any sense. Which I did, don't get me wrong, but it was more of like just my thoughts on things instead of actually, I guess, experiencing those things. And I know people that used to watch my videos that I made like this enjoyed those type of videos, just because, I would assume just because I was giving a good insight on those things. But I also kind of hit a wall with making videos like that, because during all that time it kind of dawned on me that I was given advice that I haven't necessarily been through. It was just kind of my thoughts on how I would handle them if they ever came up, I guess. And that's still, certain videos that I made back then still stand, be yourself and stuff like that, and whatever other videos I made. But in these last 7 years, I've kind of learned a lot, and just through going through more experiences and really getting out there and living my life. And don't get me wrong, I was applying those principles that I was telling other people to apply back then while I was going through all this, which is why which is why I kind of, or which is why I am where I am today, and I'm very grateful for where I am today. Um, as I said, I made it out of my parents' house, or my parent. I made it out of my mom's house. That was a big milestone for me because at that point in time I didn't know when I was gonna um, take that step back then, but I was already in my early 20s. And the biggest point I could take away from that is do not rush based on society. Do not rush yourself based on society or social norms. I don't know if those are the same thing. Of like, oh, you need to be out of the house by this age. At this age, you need to have kids by this age. Because I always told myself in the back of my mind that I would eventually get my own place and achieve that milestone. I just didn't necessarily know when or how I was going to get there. I just knew I was going to get there whenever I got there. So one of the main points of that would to be to not worry about what other people got to say of like, oh, you don't have this yet, you haven't done this yet, are you going to do this? Because life happens and you really don't know where life's going to take you until you actually have to execute and take action in your life. And there's nothing wrong with that, whether you're a teenager, a young adult, or an older adult. Even older adults have time to get it together and get their life into perspective, at least in my opinion. Just after this 7-year trial of doing things that I wanted to do, how I wanted to do them, when I wanted to do them, all that type of stuff. I understand that us as adults go through, especially during the earlier ages of young adult and adulthood, of like the pressure of people putting expectations on you, and I never really was the one that tried to live up to expectations. I always kind of moved at my own pace, and that's something that I've come to realize that I've always kind of done, regardless of interacting with people that felt like they were not ahead, but just felt like they had it all figured out for themselves. But yeah, that would probably be one of my key takeaways, is just don't rush yourself. But as long as you're moving forward, not backwards, you're in the right direction. So yeah, I mean, I made it to this. I took this big step with with help from people that I care about, or I wouldn't necessarily say help, but guidance, I would say, from people that I care about, like just to kind of put it in perspective for me that I can do it and I am capable, because everybody needs at least one person to be like, you could do it, And yeah, I mean, as far as the update goes, that's still my main key point, is take care of yourself, take care of your health, because without good health, all of this is pointless. My perspective on things have kind of changed a lot. I think back then it was more of like, oh, I don't really care, I'm just gonna post what I want to post, just giving my perspective on whatever the topic was at hand. Um, which I don't really know if I'm gonna do that after this video, but I just wanted to kind of give an update to whoever sees this video of like, everything's okay. I took bigger steps in my life. I'm still the same person. Still have a lot of the same, good values, good morals, good integrity that I had back then. Just more experience under my belt, I would say. So yeah, I mean, I'm 29 now. Back when I was making videos, when I first started, I was 20. So it's just crazy. And when people tell you, hey, after you're 18, or some people say 18, a lot of people say 20, 21, time flies. I would say listen to that, because it does definitely fly. Like, it's crazy to think about, like, wow, I'm 29, and not to say that I didn't think I was gonna make it to this age. It's just when you think back, because I do that a lot. I think back on certain things I would tell myself and where I would be, and I'm not disappointed or anything like that. It's just crazy to think about how much time has, flown by. And I'm very grateful for where I'm at. I'm happy. I don't have any, regrets. Besides, like, not being conscious of my health. But you can't really, they always say hindsight is 2020. Whoops, sorry for that view. Hindsight is 2020, so you can't really predict that, oh, I'm gonna go through this, or this is gonna happen in the future, because like I said, life happens and you really don't know what's gonna happen. You kind of just have to make the right decisions and go through life and make sure you have a good base of like who you are and what you want to do, which I still have, at least, mentally. Physically, I can't really say that, because that's always been an obstacle, and it's an obstacle that I've had to work around for all of my life. So I'm not really like down on myself or anything like that. Like I said, this is just an update because it's been a really long time. But if I could end it off with anything to tell you out there, or whoever decides to watch this video, keep moving forward, man. I promise, as long as you have the correct perspective on your life and what you want to do with it, no matter what it is, just keep moving forward. I promise it gets better as long as you want it to. For all the younger people out there who are younger than me, do not get stuck in the mindset of like, my life's always going to be like this, because you never know what could happen, especially in a positive way. You might think your life is over, your life is bad. You might be depressed. You might be going through a whole bunch of emotions, but just keep persevering. Persevere, always persevere. The only time limit that you got is, to be blunt, is death. So keep going until you can't go anymore. That's what I always like to tell myself. You always have time until you don't have time. And that usually just comes with, whenever God calls you to his kingdom, and whatever that is. But you can't really predict that. But you shouldn't also be worried either. But just keep persevering, man. No matter what job you have, no matter where you're at, if you're down in the dumps right now, just keep going, man. I'm telling you. As long as you want it to get better and as long as you want better for yourself, in some way, shape, or form, it always gets better. And another thing I would like to tell you is stop comparing yourself to other people and how far they've went since you've last seen them, or since they've last seen you. Don't worry about any of that, because to be honest, after high school, you don't even see the same people in your life as much as you would going to school or going to an environment where you always see certain people. So I'm telling you, just keep persevering, man. Keep moving forward. And the sky's the limit. And when I say that, I don't mean like you have to become a millionaire or make lots of money, because everybody's success story is different. It's your story. You write the book.